I believe, on the leaderboard. He's got a really good time, and the runners are starting now. Spike's strengths are consistency. He famously attempted to do 100 no reset runs, and he did a fair amount of them, so he's gotten really consistent now, so we'll see how this goes. Spike with a random pause for no reason. That's exciting. The runners are dead tied now, so there we go. And Spike is a second behind on this timer. But it looks cool to see them go by. First thing you'll notice, both players using Funky Kong. Both players also with a perfect, almost perfect. Spike had to hover a little bit there at the intro. Funky can get an infinite roll and has most of the abilities of the other Kongs. He can jump on spikes and spiked enemies. He can also double jump to give him distance and height of both the other Kongs, just faster. So Funky is the optimal choice for most of the run. Well, they'll be switching. There's actually a point where you can switch. At any point on the map screen, you can switch to the Kong family, the other Kongs. And using their abilities are a little bit different. They have some advantages that I'll get to when we get there. So for now, it's Funky. Funky also has 5 hearts, so you can take some more risks. It's more forgiving. You also have a little flutter at the end, so you won't actually fall and die with Funky as often. Although the flutter is extremely slow, so really you don't want to use it at all. That's kind of the goal here. It's just to bop and bounce and never have to really use the flutter. The double jump doesn't spend any time, so the double jump is perfectly reasonable to use. You don't lose any speed from double jumping here. So Goldfish with a little lead here. Spike had a couple small errors in 1-1, but really nothing to make it tough. I'm going to make it tough for him to catch up, so we'll see a clean 1-1 pretty much from both players. At the beginning there, they got a big string of bounces and double jumps. You get some extra speed coming down the very first slope, and as soon as you land on the ground, you lose all that speed. And it's not a lot, but it's a little bit of extra. So by bopping on enemies and double jumping, you actually maintain that speed throughout that entire section. And they both got it pretty much as far as you can go. Coming into 1-2, not too much else happening in 1-2. Back in the old run, there was a benefit of using Diddy. Back before Funky was a character in the game. And Diddy has the only advantage of any Kong over Funky, which is underwater. His jetpack goes much faster than any other character. Funky is stuck with the spinning ability here, which is about as fast as every other Kong underwater normally. So because of that, we'll be switching to Diddy in World 4. Both players so far a very clean 1-2. Goldfish gets the extra height and able to hit the barrel. That's actually a really tricky jump. Spike didn't go for it, as you saw. It's much riskier to go for it. Essentially, there's a little bit of a bonus height you can get actually with Funky in this game. If you grab in the air and then do a double jump after, you actually get extra height, higher than intended, and higher than his normal double jump. So Goldfish was able to utilize that grab jump there, as we call it, to gain a tiny bit of height. It's difficult, though, because it's very precise. You have to kind of be at the right height out of the water when you're bouncing. Most grab jumps are not as difficult. For example, at the beginning of this level, we just see Spike there. Both players did it, where you jump up and get extra height, so you don't have to grab that vine at all. Ooh, Spike having a little bit of trouble in the climb. Taking a hit. Not sure what to do from here. He's just going to go for a grab jump and makes it up. So that was a little rough for Spike. Goldfish clean through the second section. That's an intentional hit, because it's much slower to dodge that spinning mechanism and duck underneath it. Spike also with a clean section there in the second part, taking the intentional hit. Goldfish getting the G for no reason. The OG. It doesn't actually spend any time to get that G, since there's a vine right after it where you have to wait anyway. Spike getting a swag heart there. Goldfish having, I think, a nearly perfect first 3 levels. Didn't look like he made any mistakes, even small ones. And Spike's had a few small mistakes. Coming up with the auto-scroller now. This is the first auto-scroller of the game. It's a minecart. just like the original DKC games. There are minecarts. There's really no way to speed these up very much. You do lose some speed, though, going up and down slopes. Unless you jump. So you'll see them, both players, hopping a lot up and down slopes. That maintains your full speed. Goldfish got a little barrel skip there. You can go under the barrel here. Spike got it as well, and hop right in the cart. That saves a really small amount of time, but it's something. So Goldfish took a little hit there. Taking hits in the auto-scrollers doesn't stop you at all. Doesn't slow you down whatsoever. So if you can jump to save a frame or two on a slope, taking the damage is definitely worth it, since you don't lose any frames from taking hits. Coming up to the next level, the next level is actually the boss of this world, and there was recently discovered a new trick using Cranky. So after this, the players are going to both switch back to solo DK and pick up a Cranky barrel. All the original Kongs are on a rotating barrel cycle, so you kind of get to choose what Kong you want to use for what section most of the time, if you're not playing as Funky. They'll be choosing Cranky for the boss because of a very specific new trick discovered to beating Poppy much faster. What happened is they extended the boss's hitbox by quite a bit, so you're able to kind of skip a whole bunch of phases. And it's somewhat precise. I know Spike actually has more experience than Goldfish at the trick. He's been doing it for longer. He actually taught Goldfish how to do it. So we'll see how that plays into it. It might actually give Spike a little advantage. If Goldfish messes up a hit or two, it can cost quite a bit of time. So we'll see Goldfish now moving on to the boss. Spike just finishing up this auto-scroller. Both players had no trouble and did pretty much the exact same thing with the auto-scroller. Not much else to say about it. So switching to DK. Solo DK himself has almost no abilities. He can jump and he can roll, and then he cannot infinite roll. So there's only so much he can do. And Goldfish grabbing the Cranky barrel. So watch Goldfish on the left here. So by making that hit, you skip the entirety of him coming down that slope. There's a total of 9 hits they want to make. And only one of the hits you have to do is like the old strats. Here, they're clearing the fish off screen as fast as they possibly can. Spike missing the fish, but having good Pompey hits. So Goldfish moving on to the next phase. None of those hits actually count for hitting him. 3 phases, 3 hits per phase. Spike also making every hit. So this is good. Both players having a pretty solid Pompey. This is the only hit for Goldfish where he's got to actually do it originally, where you can't speed it up with new strats. Still nailing each hit. Goldfish on to the next phase. Very nice hits for Goldfish. This section, you want to clear the fish off the screen as fast as possible. And Goldfish is going to be doing that by trying to hit this fish at the very top of the screen when he first, his hitbox first appears. Spike, really good as well. Onto the three fish here. Goldfish had a perfect Pompey, I think. Spike able to clear the early fat ass as well. Ooh, it misses a hit on Pompey. It's going to cost him a few seconds, putting him a little bit even farther behind from Goldfish. And he nails the last hit really well, so Spike had a nearly perfect one boss. He just missed the one hit for about 3 or 4 seconds, and missed one of the green fish for about 2 seconds. All in all, both players had a really good World 1, though. Goldfish in the lead. Moving on to 2-1. World 2 has a few interesting things going on. First of all, they're switching back to Funky because Funky is still faster in almost every level. The cranky strats on the first boss are so much faster that even taking the time to switch and switch back to and from Funky Kong is almost nothing compared to what you save, which is around 20-30 seconds on that boss in total from doing those strats. Goldfish's climb here, he was trying to make a quick cycle on the climb, where you hit up a platform a little bit faster, but it wasn't a bad climb anyway. Spike coming up on the climb now. See how he handles it. And if he saves any time here. Nope, he also went for the cycle, didn't quite make it. Made the exact same cycle as Goldfish, so no time change there. This last section is not very difficult. Just shoot through the barrels. You can just mash A. Spike coming into the last barrel section. So both players clean 2-1s as well. They both kind of messed up a little bit on the climb. The exact same mistake. Spike is about 18 seconds behind Goldfish, 19 seconds behind. So not much of a deficit, really. A very large mistake from Goldfish, or a death from Goldfish, would probably catch Spike right up, so we'll see. Goldfish is pretty consistent, though. So we'll see how he does here. This is our first Rambi level. Rambi's fun. One of the key aspects of Rambi and the speedrun that you want to look for, first of all, he can run through everything, which is great. Enemies and blocks and all that, all sorts of stuff. Goldfish having a little bit of trouble hopping up there, but he made it. That's going to be about a second that Spike could probably easily catch up. So Rambi, the point of Rambi really is... well, a general principle in this game is if you land... Spike had a much better jump there. Wow, that saved him a few seconds. The general principle of this game, in terms of speeds, is as you land and have to roll again, it costs you about 0.1 second. Goldfish using this Rambulous strat to get a little tiny bit of extra distance there. So as you land and have to re-roll, you spend 0.1 second, which doesn't sound like very much, but it adds up over the entire run. So generally you don't want to land and roll. You want to bounce on enemies or double jump, because that sort of stuff keeps all your momentum and speed. With Rambi, every time you land, it costs you a quarter of a second. So it actually is much slower to do with Rambi. So you'll see in this level a lot, if you watch, really bouncing on as many enemies and double jumping as much as possible ends up saving multiple seconds from jumping and landing and jumping and landing again. Goldfish had a little sloppy ending as well. And that got up about a second more for Spike there, so Spike had a really, really good 2-2. Moving on to 2-3, this level has global cycles. A lot of them, too. Everything's based on the music in this level. So all the horns that blast and all that sort of stuff. It's all based on the music. So the runners going at max speed understand kind of where all their cycles are going to be when they get there. However, if you make any small mistake or die, the cycles are all different. So you kind of have to adapt. So really, the idea here is to just keep going as fast as possible. Any tiny mistake can really add up to a large mistake because of the way the global cycles work here. So far, so good. Both players having a very solid 2-3. It's also one of the more challenging early levels. There's a lot of pits. Goldfish very clean. Spike also very clean. This horn section, not much you can do to speed it up. Alright, both players had a really good 2-3 as well. I'd like to see how Spike's deficit changed a little bit after the 2-2 that was fairly good. He has a very good strat in the middle section there to get up the those platforms that Goldfish took some time to get up. So we're looking at Spike saving about 4 seconds. He's closer now to 15 seconds behind, as opposed to 20. So he did catch up time on Goldfish. And Goldfish is generally known for using much better strats overall. Although I know Spike has been really keeping up with the best strats, and trying to kind of do as many consistent good strats as possible. So and it showed in that too. Just those small optimizations. So we're under a second minecart level, and same principle applies here. This one's a bit cooler to watch, I think. A lot more happening on the screen. But again, there's not much else to say about it. There's one damage boost here that Goldfish will be taking. I think both players will probably do halfway through. It's around here. Where they'll jump into the ceiling, take a damage, but it keeps a bunch of momentum a lot farther into the water. So Goldfish got it there. Okay, I got my stream back up here. Yeah, my stream went down for a second, but we're good. We're back. What I could do is actually... I can turn this down a little bit. Alright, so moving on to 2-5. 2-5 is not particularly interesting as well. There are some cool double jumps here. You have to take it a little bit slow sometimes. Something I do find cool is the different routes players take through these levels. Spike almost died there, but he was good. Depending on how you weave through these enemies, it's like almost totally personal preference. Both players had a really good first section. Second section was good. There is a way to go a little bit faster than Goldfish did. He could bounce off an owl there. Let's actually see if Spike does it. I'm curious. Nope, not at all. Okay. There's a way you can get a high bounce off the large enemy and bounce off the owl. It saves about a half second. Both players didn't do it, so it looks like the time difference does not change here. Also, there used to be an issue with load time differences, where they would change kind of almost sporadically. Sometimes some players would get a fast load and sometimes they wouldn't. And that's completely gone in the Switch version, which is really good. Or it's minimized to the point where it's not noticeable, which is great. Goldfish on a 2-6. The last level before the second boss. This is kind of a pseudo auto-scroller in a way. Really, you just hang on the vines and hang out for most of it. But the challenging parts we're going to watch out for are the climb at the very end. And there's also a small boost just before the climb, after a big swinging vine. you get some momentum off it, and you want to make sure you maintain that all the way to the barrel. And the section leading up to the barrel and the climb are relatively the same. Not too much you can do about it here. We used to care about the way the partner Kong barrels rotated to try and catch certain cycles, since partner barrels are actually global cycles as well, which will be relevant later in the run, but not with Funky, since we don't use any partners. He doesn't need partners. He's too good. Goldfish coming up to the large swinging vine here. Take a look at this momentum that the runners are utilizing here. So that was good. He balked on the ceiling, still kept his speed. And the climb for Goldfish. This climb can be challenging, and the floor goes away underneath you, so you don't really want to fall or lose any time here. So he went up the left side, had a pretty good climb. Spike with a good swinging vine. Let's watch his climb here. Similar, goes to the right side, bounces on the owl. Ooh, misses the grab for the first time. I feel like that doesn't cost much time. He actually had I'd say a slightly faster climb than Goldfish did. But then missed the vine, so he probably ended up losing time there. Winners finals. This is a pretty good run so far for both players. So we're on to 2 boss. 2 boss follows the same rules, where you want to give them 9 hits, 3 different phases each. And the cool thing about this boss is they give you all the tools to defeat him very fast, if you want to and if you can. It's a little bit challenging to do, but the developers gave you all you need to do it. So the first phase there is you soften Spike, or soften Goldfish, you can see from Spike, is you want to hit him with these 3 owls that he drops. Spike and Goldfish doing well. Goldfish on the left, you want to hit him with 3 owls again, but if you hit him too early, he won't spawn that 3rd one that just fell. So the key here is to just wait a little bit. You'll watch Spike on this side do it. So you knock out the first owl, grab it. And instead of throwing right away, you actually want to wait for Scowl to spawn this 3rd owl. So there we go. Spike actually dropped the owl. Uh-oh. That's going to cost him a lot of time. I don't know how it happened. But now he's going to have to wait for the 2nd phase to go recycle again, which is about 20-30 seconds. And he's going to have to hope that these owls that he drops are actually ones he can throw. There's one he can throw. That's good. Ooh. Spike lost some time there. Goldfish moving on to phase 3. In phase 3, they don't give you an owl, a 3rd owl, in any reasonable time. But Scowl does fall down on the ground. You can jump on his head. So that's going to be the 2nd hit. That's going to put Spike a good chunk behind. So Goldfish with that bop on the head, and then tossing the owl. Goldfish finishing up with a solid roll 2 as well. Really good run for Goldfish, unsurprising. Spike with the good throw there. And as long as he doesn't drop another owl, he should be fine. Waiting for Scowl to appear on the right side. Alright, Spike finishes World 2. And I don't have a time for you. But maybe someone else can count. So we've got a 3-1. It's another level that's based on global cycles, but they're a lot more forgiving. There's really no way you can go too slow. I mean, you have about 7 seconds worth of leeway to make this cycle. So essentially just don't die, and you're fine. But it is a big loss to miss a cycle. So Goldfish made this cycle. What you want here, you'll see coming up on these animal poles, is this zebra comes left right when he's ready to go on. So if you miss that cycle, you'd see the zebra going away from you. Now the second portion is just kind of making on these snakes coming up as they move left and right. Goldfish going for a strat here. Oh, he missed it. Where you get some extra height, and you're able to get in the barrel quite early. He didn't make the strat, unfortunately, but he had the regular cycle. I wonder if Spike's going to go for it. I haven't actually watched full runs of these runners in quite a while, so we'll see what they go for here. Both of these runners were also running in the relay in SGDQ 2016. Spike kind of... Oh, he got on top of the snake. Didn't do much with it. Couldn't get in the barrel as well, so he got the same cycle there as Goldfish. Well, both players had an identical 3-1. 3-2 is a little bit of downtime. It's not as difficult. There aren't many places to die here, except the very last Baobab fruit. There's a large fruit at the very end that's a one-hit kill, so that's possible to die on, if you're slow. Oh, Goldfish kind of having a little trouble bouncing off those fruit there. It's gonna give a Spike a couple seconds back. And Spike having trouble with the plug, that's also going to cost him some time, so both players, again, pretty even. Three used to be one of the most exciting levels with the Do-Si-Do. That has now been squashed since Funky is just fine in this level, and it's cost too much time to switch to Cranky. It's technically switching to Cranky and doing Do-Si-Do is a little bit faster, but it requires you to get a perfect Do-Si-Do first try, which is an extremely hard trick to get first try. So it's really not worth it at this point to attempt it. There will be a point where the runs are so good you'll have to attempt Do-Si-Do to beat the run. And Goldfish had having a really smooth 3-3 so far. Same with Spike here. Bonking on that rock. It is possible that the tornado kills you if you don't finish this fast enough here. But he's okay. Goldfish is okay. Goldfish doing quite a few roll jumps here. Roll jumping is technically slower, since you lose 1/10 of a second for every roll jump you do. And he's doing every single platform. Which is not the fastest way to do it. You can double jump most of these and lose a lot less time. So Spike opting to get Rambi here. Rambi is about the same speed to do anyway as Funky, but you can do a few other things. You can run through some enemies that you don't have to jump for. You can run over some pits you don't have to jump for. And ultimately, anything nice that you would get out of the Rammy bonus is negated by every jump you land is now a quarter second worth of time. But Spike didn't stop, so that's good. Probably saved about a second on Goldfish for not bonking. Coming into 3-4 is actually a really cool trick at the very end. It's a vine skip. We're going to see, I'm pretty sure Goldfish is going to go for it. It's a little bit risky. You want to roll off the end ledge at the very end, and underneath a couple vines, and then do a grab jump to try and grab the very last vine much earlier than you would normally. So we'll see Goldfish coming up to it. You want to take intentional damage on these fire drops. Jump over this platform. Grab jump. And he made it! Nice. That saves about 4 seconds from doing the other strats. Nice job, Goldfish. It looks close, and it is close. Let's see if Spike goes for it. If he doesn't, it'll put him behind by about 3 or 4 seconds. Okay, he's coming up to it soon. So here Spike's going to take intentional damage on these fire. Oh, he doesn't. He goes for... He's going for it with a weird setup. Okay. Felt probably uncomfortable doing it, so he ended up not. Grabbed the second last vine and just waited. That's probably fair. Yeah, so Spike lost a little bit of time there because Goldfish got that trick. Pushing him a little farther behind even. He's not... I don't think he's a minute behind, but the Scowl missed hit really did not help. Both players now on 3-5. It's our first Rocket Barrel level. The Rocket Barrel is much different than the minecart. The only similarity is they're both auto-scrollers, and they're boring. The Rocket Barrel level, there's no way to gain time or lose time. Just don't die. It doesn't matter how much you know, go up or down or whatever. Some people thought in the past that if you hold a straight line as much as possible, you go faster. That's not true. The nice thing about this Rocket Barrel level, though, is we only play half the level, because we take the secret exit right away. Alright, Goldfish moving on to 3B. 3B is really cool. The stage kind of appears as you get up to certain platforms, so you can't really see ahead of you. But it's always the same, so if you know what you're doing, it should be fine. So it looks really cool. The thing about Funky and Spikes on the ground is that what happens if he lands in them is he actually gets stuck. You can't roll, and you can only hop out, kind of. So you really get stuck if you hit that. Hit those spikes on the ground. So really the goal here for Goldfish and for Spike is to avoid landing on the spikes. Spike looks like Spike's about 40 seconds behind. So not even that bad, all things considered. Goldfish with a really good 3B with Funky. You can also boost through these brambles, obviously, with the extra hearts that Funky gains. Spike didn't get a quick bounce on the flower. If you time your bounce correctly, you'll get a you'll keep all your speed on springy platforms like that. But it's a small window where you can do it, and if you miss it, you just bounce normally and lose all your speed. Goldfish on the boss now. Baboon follows the exact same rules, except all you have to do is get rid of one monkey per phase, and the monkeys take 3 hits per phase each. So So the goal is to kind of clear the monkey, somehow get the one monkey within hitting range as fast as possible here. So the way I set this up is you do a certain amount of hits and sit in a certain spot, and this one monkey will come down. And the lighter they get, the closer they are to death. So he's moved on to phase 2 now. Goldfish is going to set this up in such a way where both monkeys fall down here. You want to clear both of them off screen. But you don't want to clear the second one off until this first one comes down on the grabs on the vine. If you clear that first one off too early, the second will stay up there a lot longer. Then you'll lose about 3, 4, or 5 seconds even. So everything they do, everywhere they stand, and everything, all the timing they take, is all very intentional to set up the way the monkeys fall down. Spike having a little trouble in phase 1. As you can see, he's got another monkey coming down when that's irrelevant. Goldfish having a really good boss. Okay, Spike able to clear out phase 2. Let's see. Wait for that second one to come down. Okay, good phase 2 from Spike at least. Goldfish with a 36-30. Coming out of World 3. Really good time. Very minimal mistakes from Goldfish so far in 3 worlds of play. And a few mistakes from Spike. So Goldfish here is switching now to solo DK. This world we're playing almost entirely as the Kong family, as we say. Mainly because Diddy is so much faster in over half the levels, because they are underwater levels. Spike is a solid 55 seconds behind Goldfish, which is quite significant. It's going to take a lot here for Goldfish to lose this race, I think, at this point. Although we do have the harder worlds coming up, so you never know. So Goldfish grabbing Diddy here, and you'll see Diddy's jetpack swims way faster underwater than Funky does, which is why we use him. Here Goldfish is also going to try and grab a Dixie cycle. Dixie's useful underwater only to get through secret exits that involve strong water currents. So there is a strong water current here. We are going to want to get the secret exit for this and take the alternate route in this world. Mainly because the alternate route is 2 levels as opposed to 3. So Goldfish was able to make that Dixie cycle. All the, like I said earlier, the Kong barrels, as they rotate between Diddy, Dixie, and Cranky, are on a global cycle. So they start rotating as soon as the level starts. So when you get there, depending on how quickly or how slowly you get to the barrel, it'll be on a different Kong. So Goldfish made the Dixie cycle. It's not terribly tough to make it. There are much harder cycles that they're going to be trying to make, and more precise cycles later in this world. And here's Dixie going through the secret exit. Technically you can get through as Diddy, it's just very slow. It's much harder to do. It's really precise timing and not really intended by the developers. So it's actually much faster still to go through as Dixie, even though we're losing time on swimming. Okay, Spike makes the Dixie cycle as well, which is good. Keeping up here with Goldfish. 4A, the next level Goldfish is in, is actually only level where we use Dixie, the switch to Diddy, and then switch to Cranky. And the barrel cycles will all come into play here. As long as Goldfish doesn't lose any speed in the entire level, he'll be able to catch those cycles right on time. So Diddy is right on cycle there. And it's really cool to watch. It's a very smooth level because of that. We use Diddy here because the speed underwater is faster. Coming up to Cranky, right on cycle. and we use Cranky in this section. There is an underwater section actually coming up that would be faster with Diddy. However, really the only way to reasonably make the secret exit in this level, which is what we want to get, is by using Cranky. He's able to pogo on some spiked fruit there and make it all the way up to the secret exit. And there's Goldfish with the secret exit. Okay, he had a really good foray. Let's see how Spike does here, if he makes the cycles. Grabbing Diddy. So far, so good for Spike. Yeah, he made the Cranky cycle. Excellent. And he should be just fine to make the secret exit. Although the secret exit looks pretty cool with Cranky, there's a pretty consistent good setup for it, so it should not be a problem to make this exit. Okay, Spike is in. So coming into 4B, Goldfish is already in. The goal is to get Diddy back as fast as possible. So the very first Diddy barrel you want to grab, because this is about a 3-minute level. And doing it with Diddy saves you a good 20 plus seconds than using any other Kong. This level's not very challenging or very interesting. You just get keys and unlock chests to get more keys until you get the final one to open the big door. It's kind of a little maze, a little Zelda-style puzzle here. There's some little tech in this with kind of how you go through those portals. There are ways to sort of maintain some speed through portals, depending on how you swim through them. Ooh, Spike. Okay, Spike got Diddy. It was a little bit sketchy. He almost didn't get it, but he ended up grabbing Diddy, which is good. Goldfish with a couple good exits out of these portals. You see his positioning usually works out pretty well. Sometimes you're all over the place. Sometimes you're very slow coming out of the portals. Sometimes you're halfway across the screen for some reason. It's not fully known how the portals really work, but we've got a pretty good grasp on doing them. Goldfish trying to get this key. Bonks into the platform, but he's okay. And Goldfish with a clean level overall. Spike's level not bad either. So this brings us to 4-5, which is a completely above water in the water world, and fairly challenging as well. There's a couple cool tricks you want to. So Goldfish is first going to want to get a Cranky barrel as soon as possible. Cranky's much better in this level than Diddy. He gets extra height, and you can keep all your momentum. So Goldfish throwing the bomb to open that crate, and gets Cranky right on cycle. As long as you're fast enough, crate directly on. Here you have to wait a little bit. You actually can't get up that high, and you need a bomb to get through the crates on the right side if you look. Okay, now we're going for the strong dong setup. Here, there's a precise setup to get through this section, maintaining full speed. If you get in this barrel at the right time, good job for Goldfish. You can actually skip that entire section with all those rotating barrels by shooting yourself right up to the top. We're going to re-grab Diddy here, because the next level is another underwater level with no barrel for a long time. We don't want Cranky. And here we're going to crate skip using Diddy's hover to skip having to smash those crates. Really, really good level for Goldfish. That's one of the tougher ones, so he nailed every trick. Spike here grabbing Cranky. Let's see how Spike does here. He's going to want to keep up, so if he gets everything, then he's still got a chance to come back from this deficit. Again, he's less than a level behind still. Spike going for the setup here. Where you pogo is really precise, and how many times you... Because as you get into the barrel, you mash the button. And it should shoot you right up like that. It's right on time. So that was good for Spike there. He's going to grab Diddy here. Ooh, he missed the Diddy barrel. He got hit, and he wasn't able to... So he's actually going to wait for the cycle. He didn't want to risk grabbing it and grab Dixie by accident. Dixie has no speed underwater as well, so you don't want that. Great skip here for Spike. Excellent, he makes it down. So he lost 3 seconds there. Each rotation is... And he actually missed the full cycle of Diddy. So he lost 3 more seconds of Goldfish. But yeah, besides that, really good level. He got all the other tricks in that level. So that was really good still for Spike. Goldfish now well into 3-6. There are a few interesting things you can do with Diddy here, with the swimming. But for the most part, you're kind of just going through the level. Not much. You are going to try and make Diddy cycles throughout this entire level. And if you go fast enough, they are on cycle. So Goldfish here, getting the Diddy. You have an extra heart as well, which means you can damage boost through all this random garbage, which is nice. Spike also made this Diddy cycle. Watch Spike weave through this section. It's really cool. Take an intentional hit just to refill it right away. Take an intentional hit here. This way you don't have to go around the entire section. The spike ball area. You can just kind of weave your way through and sneak kind of by, which is cool. Next boss is Fugu. Fugu's normally extremely long and frustrating boss, but we make quick work of him with Cranky here. You can actually sneak behind him and whack his soft spot, kind of unintended, from behind. The cane has enough reach to do that. It is a little risky, and you can actually damage quite easily and lose Cranky if you're not too careful. Or if Fugu does not give you heart, you can lose Cranky. However, there's even a backup where you can sneak yourself behind Fugu and just hang out back there. And he keeps hitting you, but he keeps showing his butt to you in the corner there. Luckily, he'll give you hearts every time, 99% of the time. So Goldfish with a really good Fugu so far. Much faster with Cranky. Also, as you hit him towards the wall, he actually spins back fast. So that's kind of the reason Cranky ends up being faster. That was an insanely good Fugu for Michael Goldfish. He's really having a great run here. He's within I don't want to say 121, but definitely 122 range. The record is 122, so he should be pretty good here. Let's see how Spike handles Fugu here. If he's able to keep up again, keep this race interesting. Good first phase for Spike. It's actually easier in the funky mode to keep Cranky, mainly because they give you the extra heart, so you're a little bit more leeway there. And Fugu taking his time there spinning. Spike kind of flailing a little more wildly. But he's still got a heart. He's still got Cranky. So not too bad. Oh, he opts to lose Cranky. Probably correct. Uh-oh. Okay, he's okay. The backup is much easier with DK solo. There's almost no risk of dying. So it's probably not bad that he decided to not do the Cranky strats. And Goldfish having a pretty smooth 5-1. We're back to Funky now. We actually won't be changing at all back to DK. The rest of the run is Funky. Taking some intentional hits here in order to set up the cycles properly. Nice for Goldfish. Very smooth 5-1. I think that was like a very, very small. That costs very little time. Half a second at most. Let's see how Spike handles this 5-1. A little bit slow to start there. But not bad. Spike is still keeping up relatively well. Which is good. He's made minimal mistakes in the run, honestly. Especially after World 2. It's been pretty smooth for Spike as well. So this could still be a really good race and a good match in total. A good best of 3, so. Here you can bop off every spiked object in the game with Funky. Ooh, missed the second one, but was able to recover it. That's really good. Missed the second bounce fruit. And yeah, he's able to easily recover that, which is really good for Spike there. Tight playing. Take that intentional hit. See if Spike does the underneath the level strats. He does not. He does the barrel shot. Very little time difference, but a slightly safer strat. So I would say that's completely fine for Spike here. However, he might need to start going for some more risky stuff to try and actually catch up to Goldfish here. It doesn't look like Goldfish is slowing down at all. He's got a really good lead. And he's playing extremely consistently, so it's going to be a tough one for Spike to come back to. I think Spike might have to go for some risky strats. So we're on the second Rocket Barrel level now. This one's much longer. There's no secret exit. We just have to play this one all the way out. And I'm going to take a quick break. I'll be back in a sec. Music and beautiful bus ride. Alright, we're back. It looks like both players are done. Goldfish is... And it doesn't look like there's or anything catastrophic since... 5-3 is not too difficult of a level. Fairly straightforward. Goldfish had a clean 5-3. Looks like Spike just beginning the level, so both players still within the same level. I would say that's enough reason Spike can still catch up. Spike with his root there is pretty good. It's mostly damageless. Hurt on that section not to take damage, but it doesn't matter too much. It doesn't change any of the other cycles. Goldfish coming up to 5-4. A lot of cool tricks with Funky. We'll see. There's another climb at the end it's fairly difficult, but you can utilize grab jumps to really get up there and skip a whole bunch of the platforms. This level also used to be a Diddy level. We had all 3 combos only, and mainly because of the swimming. There's quite a bit of swimming. Goldfish so far very smooth. Skipping the vine there, you can actually just grab jump up out of the water. Here is... Ooh, he took a bonk. That's going to cost a little bit of time. You don't want to get hit too much, and if he actually went for it, he might have fallen in the pit. That's in the only section you have to wait here, grabbing the bomb. Coming up into the water section, I'm interested to see if they'll take a damage boost or try to weave through these prickly fruit here. I don't know what's faster. Looks like he's going for the damage boost, keeping himself on the top section. It costs a half second every time you take damage. And he gets the nice height there. Wow, that was a really good climb for Goldfish. Very good. We take the secret exit here, because the next level is much faster. Alternate. Wow, that was a really good 5-4 for Goldfish. The climb is extremely difficult. It requires a lot of grab jumps. Particularly one specific grab jump that you absolutely need to nail. If you don't, you fall way down. Because those platforms will spin around some more, and you won't have anywhere to land. So Spike so far also with a good 5-4. Didn't quite get the speed with that bomb grab, but that's okay. Goldfish's level here, 5B, is the last of the global cycle levels in the game. Now there is a fast cycle you can get. Let's see if he goes for it or not. It requires taking an intentional hit coming up in this section here. Let's see if he does it or not. He is going for it. This will save him 4 seconds if he manages to do this. So he's going to hit this button on the way down. He's going to take an intentional hit here and an intentional hit on this. As the crusher hits him. Ooh, and he waits on that platform. So because this is global cycles, everything changes. I think that actually still gonna take an intentional hit. So it wasn't as fast as it could be, but it was still faster. Ooh, did not get a roll. His roll jump did not come out properly. He got almost no speed off that. Normally you can roll jump immediately, bounce on that owl, and hit the end barrel without having to worry at all. Now, Spike goes for the early cycle and gets the owl bounce. He'll actually save like 5 or 6 seconds Goldfish there. And that's a good chunk of time when he's still less than a minute behind. See how Spike does here. Goldfish now also on 5-6. Spike is not going for the... but he may still save about a second on Goldfish by making everything. 5-6 is really cool. There's a lot of momentum here. All these things here that push you, like that, give you tons of extra speed here. So the point really is to just utilize all of these springing watermelon things. And as you gain speed, you can, if you do a small roll most of the time, and double jump as well. Double jump maintains all your speed. Taking an intentional hit there to keep his speed. If he were to stop and duck, he would lose it all. So it's faster to take the half-second hit and continue speeding along. So really good for Michael Goldfish. Spike did get everything there. On the slightly slower cycle that Goldfish was not was trying to beat. So Spike got the regular cycle, but did it well. So he did gain a few seconds on Goldfish. Now Spike moving into 5-6. Let's see if he's able to keep all this momentum as well. Really, Spike is doing very well. Overall, he's keeping up right behind Goldfish the whole time. You know, without those little mistakes at the beginning and that scowl miss hit, this run is very solid. I believe they're also chatting with each other and hanging out in a chat, which is fun. So Spike losing a little bit of speed there. Should not be too bad for him. Goldfish are the boss of 5 boss of this world. Not much you can do to speed up 5 boss either. A little tech with Funky here that we weren't using before is kind of taking this intentional damage on those big swing hits there. And we're kind of able to do that mainly because Funky has more hits. So you have so much more leeway. Although Cranky and and Dixie and all them had 2 hearts, the problem was you weren't consistently going to get a heart off making a hit. So it really wasn't safe at all to do that. Before, now it's something you can do with Funky very safely. You have 5 hearts of having your partner abilities, really. And that becomes problematic when you're trying to bring Cranky into 6-1, let's say. Which is something you always want to do. So really you can't risk losing Cranky on the boards here. So both players going for these quicker hits, which is much better. They're both at a really high level of this game anyway, so it makes sense that they would. So not much else to say here. This is a fairly long, not much going on. Really, like, all they're trying to do is make these bops kind of as fast as possible. So you can't hit him while he's spinning around, but as soon as he stops spinning in this section, you can make the bop on him. These bombs, too, you want to break the block as soon as the bomb appears. Goldfish coming up with the last hit now. Hit number 9. Very good World 5 for Goldfish also. He's had an incredibly good run. Very consistent, very smooth. A few places where he's not using the optimal best strats. And a couple spots where Spike has, which is interesting. I thought it would kind of be the other way around. But I feel like Spike probably feels more comfortable, honestly, than Goldfish does. Might be a little bit picky in order to just keep the consistency very tight, which is a good move for Goldfish. But at the same time, it's a good move for Spike to try to get consistent as best as possible, and just go for better strats. So I think that's the way he thinks he's going to be able to actually win this match. So going to 6-1, Goldfish already makes a mistake. You can skip both those first 2 barrels with a good jump, but he didn't. Not a bad mistake, but definitely costs you About 3 seconds. Let's see if he gets speed off this vine. You can if you let go at the right moment. Ooh, and he lost his speed there. Lost his speed there as well. Oh, Goldfish having a little sloppy 6-1. Spike finishing the boss. Let's see how Spike 6-1 ends up being. Goldfish taking about 3 or 4 seconds worth of moves total. Could let Spike catch a little bit up. Is Goldfish getting the jitters here? The World 6 jitters? Let's see how Spike takes 6-1. 6-2 is a fair bit easier. So I'd like to just keep an eye on how Spike 6-1 goes. There is a neat little trick in 6-2 at the very end, though. These are quick levels, though, so seeing them at a level apart doesn't mean as much as it did before. So Spike is able to skip the 2 barrels. Gets the cannon shot. Oh! And Spike falls there. I think he meant to land on that platform, that higher platform, and wasn't quite able to. That's too bad for Spike there. That's going to cost him, well, it's going to cost him about another 20 seconds or so, I'd imagine. So now he gets on the platform he needs to. The way Goldfish's consistency is tonight means I don't know if Spike will be able to catch up to this. Unfortunately. Goldfish having a pretty clean 6-2. And Spike missing the same boot. And also getting stuck in the same spot. That's pretty funny, actually. Barely ever see that happen, and both players got it in this run, which is pretty funny. That is unfortunate. That's probably going to end it for Spike here. Although, to be fair, you still can't ever count out 6-5, which is the ultimate decider in this run. Goldfish had a clean 6-2, Spike moving on to 6-2, and Goldfish in 6-3. If you notice, something cool about this game is if you play DKC Returns, which is the first Retro Studios DKC remake, not really remake, but successor in a sense. Every level in World 6 is actually based on a world. Goldfish taking a damage and dying. That's no good. That death is particularly bad because there isn't even a checkpoint till right after that. So Goldfish lost probably 30+ seconds on that. That's really, really crazy. That's going to give Spike a good chunk of time back. His death. It'll give him even more time back than he was before. Because Goldfish's death is much worse than Spike's death was. There we go. Goldfish able to cleanly come back out of that. Pulls off a really nice bop. Really nice sequence of bops there in 6-3. Again, bopping saves you 1/10 of a second every single time. You don't roll and jump again. So a nice long string of bops is up to a second of time saved, depending on how much you do it per. Spike with a really clean 6-2, moving into 6-3. Hopefully, going to capitalize here on Goldfish's mistake there. Essentially, Goldfish had spaced his bounce off a bit. Every time you bounce, you can do like certain strengths of the bounce. Max bounce by just holding the button as much as possible. You can do kind of hold it a bit to do a medium bounce. You can not hold the button at all, you just get a regular neutral bop. So there's all sorts of different lengths worth of jump you can do. There's a lot of variation as well, so you kind of want to really get the muscle memory down for what kind of bops per enemy you use, and that changes a lot of kind of how you go through the levels here. And if you screw up even a little bit on a bop, you can just, instead of bopping on an enemy, you end up getting hit by the enemy and dying, like Goldfish did in 6-3. Spike with a much better 6-3 than Goldfish. Losing some momentum here and there, but nothing nearly as close as the death. Goldfish is on the last auto-scroll So really there isn't much time to be lost here. But it's also going to mean Spike is going to be in the auto-scroll at the same time as him. Which still keeps it close enough for it to be interesting. There's a lot of things that can happen in the next few levels, including the final boss. Alright. Goldfish gained this checkpoint at 1:10:35. Let's see how far now. I have a feeling he's less than a minute behind still. He might not be, but we'll see. I would like to think he's less than a minute behind, because his death wasn't as bad as Goldfish's. Even if just by a few seconds. 6-3 is notorious for having really bad deaths. Because there is no checkpoint until about halfway through. Again, 6-5 could really be the decider. There's 3 difficult speed boosts in 6-5 that both players are going to try and get. I believe they're both going for the same strats. There's a more difficult strat that Goldfish might be going for. I'll point it out when we get there. It involves just getting an extra kind of second speed boost. A 1.5 speed boost, if you will. It looks like Spike is about a minute and 20 seconds behind Goldfish. I thought he was less than a minute, but his death was poor enough. I think that it also helped. Plus, Goldfish has been kind of gaining time on it here and there. I think in general. So Goldfish move out of 6-5. Let's see what he can do here. The main thing you're going to want is there are grassy springing platforms, and that's what gives you that big speed boost. So as you boost off the platforms, and you double jump and you bop on enemies, you can maintain that speed throughout quite a bit of the levels. So that's what we're going to watch out for. There are 3 main boosts, and he might be going for the secondary boost in between the first 2. You'll see he'll be going left at a certain point, and that means he's going for another boost. So we'll see what he does here. Boost number 1 is on this first grassy platform at the very top. Here we go. Very good setup for boost 1. Excellent. He's going for it. Going for the second boost on this platform. Long jump, keeping the speed through here. Bopping on snowflakes. It kind of slows down the owl. He pulled up a little bit. I don't blame him. Here's actual boost number 2. Getting in that barrel. Much easier. So Goldfish still saved time because he went for the second boost and got a fair ways in. That's the most difficult boost in the game, for sure. Going for the third one now. It's going to be the next top platform here. Popping on snowflakes and enemies here. Very good third boost. Not quite full, but pretty much. Ooh, got a little scared there with the barrel. That was a very good 6-5 for Goldfish. It's going to be tough for Spike to match that. I don't think Spike goes for that second boost anyway. The one where you go back. But we'll see how he does. If he does well, he'll still keep up pretty well and keep it a close race. Alright, let's watch Spike here. Going for the grassy platform. Boost. Nicely done for the first boost. Ooh, he kind of hopped off, but he managed to get on the wheel. He took a hit, very unintentional there. But he didn't actually lose his speed, which is really good. So he was able to recover. Very scary, but managed to stay alive, which is good. Second boost here, bopping off a fat enemy and then an owl. Keeping the speed, you can get right in the barrel. Excellent second boost for Spike. Intentional hit there to get through the barrel faster. Going for the third boost here coming up. Bopping off this other fat enemy and up to the ground. Good speed for Spike. Better third boost for Spike than Goldfish for sure. He went over the... Oh! Oh my god. The other thing about the hover is it gives you very little horse. So he barely hit that barrel. Oh my goodness. That was really close, but overall, Spike had a very, very good 6-5 as well for all the strats he's going for. That's terrifying, but it was so good. We totally skipped Goldfish's 6-6, but I'm sure it was great. He didn't seem to make any mistakes. Wow, that 6-5 for Spike was very crazy. Two extremely close moments that he was able to recover and still managed to get all the speed off the boost. Really good third boost from Spike there. So the only silhouette level here Spike is on is 6-6. Goldfish is moving on to 6-7. Going to be taking a few intentional hits in 6-7. One of the only things Funky can't really stand on properly is electricity. So you still take a hit from it, but with the damage boost, it'll allow you to get through other sections of electricity untouched and much easier. So Spike having a little sloppy 6-6, but not too. Goldfish here in 6-7, getting the puzzle piece. Thank you, Rick. Much appreciated. You can see a lot of 6-7 is really just routing through where to take hits. That was intentional. And kind of which enemies and platforms to kind of pick and choose where to go. That's an intentional hit as well to get through that electricity right after. Spike having a really good 6-6 in general. A couple little things, but not too bad. Goldfish easily able to weave his way through in 6-7. So he took 3 hits there intentionally, and he's going to one more here. Oh, he's not. He's going for the jump. He makes the jump. That's a blind jump, and it's a little bit sketchy. You just have to do a grab jump and a slight hover at the very end to make that barrel. And it's all blind, which makes it tough. For some reason, blind anything in this game is very difficult. There are no audio cues or anything, so it's tough. So it makes it a little bit scarier. Spike here on 6-7. Hoping to keep up again with Goldfish's 6-7, and maybe have a chance if a little bit. We're not really looking at anything in 6-8 that could end it here for Goldfish. Not too hard. I mean, Goldfish has had his mistakes in 6-8. Like this. Wow, misguided the jump here. Got caught on a platform and couldn't really recover. It's not too bad of a death at all, really. It's actually one of the more forgiving deaths in the game. It's going to give Spike a little bit of time. And, oh, Goldfish can't quite figure out what the pattern is like there. It is different because it's starting at a different time. So he had to kind of improvise. Oh, Spike has a 6-7 death. That's probably it for Spike, unfortunately. He had his chance there to catch up. I didn't see actually what happened, but I assume he mistimed the jump or spacing, which is usually the issue with this level especially. Not spacing your jumps properly. Almost always does it in this. So a little bit sloppy runs from now both players. We can safely. Their 6-5s were really cool though, so that's really a big highlight of this tournament. I think 6-5 has become a really interesting level. Goldfish having a very clean 6-8 after that death, able to really pull it back. Ditching Rambi here, slightly faster to ditch Rambi, so you can double jump over all this stuff. You have to end up grabbing him again because there's too many things that only Rambi can break. Rambi boxes and things like that. Spike moving on to 6-8 as well. I don't think there's really a situation that this game, even if he doesn't get early hits on Frederick, or even if he misses a hit on Frederick, I think it's still far enough ahead now with Spike's unfortunate death in 6-7 that actually solidifies it here. Goldfish is projected to win this entire best of 3 matchup, just on PBs alone. And there's 6-8. Goldfish now moving into the final boss. The Spike really trying to get back in there. Again, this is only the first game of this match, so we'll see how it goes. The way Spike's playing in general and his strats give him a chance, I think, in this winners finals. So we're watching out here for early. So the way the early throws work is the boss will shoot these enemies, and you have to throw them in the background to kind of bring Frederick back up to the foreground so you can actually hit him. And normally you have to wait for Frederick to dance around, and then you can throw the enemy at him when he stops moving. But the early throw, you can toss it, and you'll actually bonk him really quick. So that was a good early throw from Goldfish. It's pretty easily set up, the first one. Now you're going to make 3 hits in 3 different phases. Frederick running across the screen also gets faster. So it becomes a little bit trickier to make these hits. Goldfish doing just fine, though, in the first few. Spike about to finish 6-8. Had a good fit 6-8. So that was good for Spike. I think Goldfish is in the 123 to finish. I don't think he can do it in a minute, but I think he can do it in a minute and a little bit. So he's going to miss out on the 122. Both players are. Spike hopefully getting the 124. Might end up being a 125. Goldfish misses the second early throw. So he's going to wait for Frederick to stop moving around, which makes it much easier to throw that enemy at him. Here is the second hit. Goldfish was a nice 3 hits. Moving on to phase 3. Let's watch for Spike on the right side if he gets an early throw. Going for the first early throw. Not even attempting the early throws. Just waiting for Frederick to stop moving. That is a strat that has recently become a little bit more consistent with a nice new setup. Spike is not attempted. Okay, Goldfish here going for early throw number 3. Check out. He's got the setup and does not make the early throw, but makes a pretty quick second throw, which is really good for Goldfish. If he makes these 3 hits, he's finishing at a clean 23. Nicely done for Goldfish. That will give him first place in this race. Let's move on to... Oh, looks like Spike's audio not really going on, not really working. So let's go back to Goldfish's audio. Game audio. Spike here. Doing very well in the boss. He's probably going to finish with a high 120. Oh, and Goldfish's audio is cut out as well. We're trying Spike's audio again, it looks like, but I'm hearing nothing. I think we should go back to Goldfish's audio. Spike, you're just finishing up. Hopefully he gets the 124 there. Yeah, congrats to Goldfish for winning the first race of this match in the winners finals. If he wins this, he'll be on to the grand finals of whoever wins the losers bracket. It's automatically switching to Spike's audio. And done for Spikevegeta, 125.50. 125.15. That's it. So that's race 1. Let's see if these guys pop into this this stream chat for a little post-race commentary. I'm not seeing any of them yet. They may not, which is also fine. But that was a great race. I mean, Goldfish was ahead for almost the entire race, but there were a couple shots where Goldfish definitely did not play his best. So I'll have to see how that plays out in the next round. I think they're going to set a race up probably for next week. So, yeah. Doesn't look like either of them are going to pop in the voice chat. So I think that'll probably do it for game 1 here. Goldfish changing the time to some other weird time. Yeah. So congrats on both runners. Not terrible runs for both. We'll see how it goes. Oh, Spike is floating around here in the setup chat. He's not coming in for the live chat, I guess. We'll see if he ends up... Oh, Goldfish needs an invite, does he? Okay. How do I give Goldfish it? There it is. Okay, where's Goldfish? Is it right here? That should do it. That should do it. There we go. All right, so let's see how these guys... see what these guys have to say about this. This race, they should be joining us here.
Hello.
There's Michael Goldfish.
Hi.
Congrats on the run.
Thank you.
Oh, okay. I didn't know we have to come in here. Okay, what's up?
A 135.35 Goldfish.
Not bad, not bad.
Yeah, not too bad. Spike, that's 6'5" with terrifying, but that was great.
Oh my god! So we were in a call the whole time. Jock was in there, and for both the first boost and the third boost, I was like, "Oh, Jock, you're gonna love that one." I was
terrifying.
Like, Ruby is probably freaking out right now, dude.
I was like, well, he's dead. Oh my god, he's not. Oh, well, he's dead here. Oh my god, he hit the barrel.
I know. I was worried at the end. I was like, I don't think I'm going to be able to J-hops this, man. This might be a little too far back for me to hover. I'm not sure. Yeah, there was... I could tell my spacing was off a little bit, so I tried to adjust just to get to the wheel, because I could tell I wasn't going to get on top of it. So then when I rolled off, I could tell, oh no. I have like do-si-do speed off the top of this wheel. So and I'm off screen, so I can't see myself. So I instantly put on the hover, like, oh, please God, please God, please God. He finally, he came down from the heavens and was able to hit the barrel. But,
that was great.
Yeah.
Even though the hover has no distance.
No, nothing.
You managed to squeeze some distance out of it.
So you knew I must have been a literal mile in the air.
I was like, I don't think he's getting this.
But yeah, GG Goldfish was a fun race.
GG, it was a fun race. We talked about Overwatch, talked about Fortnite.
I will openly admit, obviously I lost the race anyways. Letting the egg fall off screen on Scowl for me was literally us talking about Overwatch or something, and being like, oh wait, I'm not supposed to bounce on that egg. Oops.
Yeah, some sort of nonsense. Talking about my personal struggles, you know.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Had a real heart-to-heart.
You guys went heart to heart. That's great. It was still fun to watch, and you guys died all over.
Yeah, the race was good. It was another classic.
It was a classic.
Good, and then just like beef out of nowhere.
Yeah, right.
Honestly.
Yeah. We each took 2 deaths in World 6. Your death was... Where did you die in 6-8?
In the very beginning.
Beginning, yeah.
Oh,
like you got to Randy, the door opens, and then you like jump to the platforms to get to the to
yeah.
Remy. I just fell in the lava.
He clipped the platform and then just couldn't get up.
Yeah, reload it. You're like, oh sweet, the thing's open. Like I don't have to waste a bunch of time. But then the stupid platforms are all the way at the top, so you can't go anyway. The whole thing. Yeah. And then you're like, okay,
man,
this first one came down. I can move now. The second one goes up. Like, oh my god.
I was like, man, this could be a chance for Spike to catch up. Oh, he died in 6.
That's 6. Yeah. And it was like the same amount of time because it was like, boop, all right, I went right back to the point. So.
Yeah, we consistently loaded in and out of levels together.
Yeah. It was
yes, that's true.
Like we needed to have 2 deaths just to calibrate for the length.
Right. I couldn't be on the same level as Goldfish barring a boss. So it'd be like, I'm entering 5B, he's X out. I'm like, how'd it go, man? All right, I'll tell you how mine goes.
Yeah, see you later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was fun. It was still a good race.
Yeah. Glad. Hope we put on a good show. Hope people enjoyed it. Over here on Speed Gaming 5.
Speed Gaming 5, the lost Speed Gaming. Who is it? Where are we?
Who am I? Who are you? Why am I here?
I didn't know we had 5 of these.
I didn't either. I was like 5. Oh.
Yo, hell yeah, we do though. You gotta promote the heck out of it, you know?
Yeah. I actually hope all the rest of my matches are here on Speed Gaming 5. Let the world know.
It's the best one. Cool, guys. All right, well, we're gonna take off then. It was a great.
Yeah.
And that was only game 1, so we'll see these guys duke it out again in the winners finals. And if Goldfish wins, it's over for Spike. He's down in the losers bracket.
I mean,
so it's not completely over. He's just gonna go down and dominate everyone else.
Right, and then come back up and face Goldfish.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, thanks for joining us, guys. Keep an eye on Speed Gaming. I don't even think anything's on. I don't know what's on Speed Gaming.
This is late night, dude. Yeah, I think we were the
late night Speed
I can't believe this is late night. I've only been up for like 4 hours.
You need to fix your sleep schedule.
I can't, man. There are many reasons. I don't even have my own bed. I'm sleeping in the basement.
What?
It's a whole. See, this is what we talked about.
All right, let's get out of this chat.
Yeah.
All right.
Later.
Thanks for watching, everybody.
Yeah, thanks for watching, everyone. We do appreciate it.
Good night. Have a good one.
Night.